Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. Today on Cookiecast, it's our second part of the wrestling podcast. We did a couple of back-to-back podcasts to cover the stuff that we'd missed and then go on to the stuff that was coming up. So you'll have heard part 1 already. It'll be labelled as number 5. This is part 2, and this is labelled as number 6. So this is the upcoming pay-per-view for the wrestling. Paul and Stu are here, and I'm pretty sure we've got a reigning champion that joins us so far through, so that's nice. So yeah, check this one out. This is Cookiecast Getting Over.
And we're rolling, ladies and gentlemen.
We are live, please don't say...
Let's not talk about that now that we're on recording.
Your love for The Rock?
Yeah. Obviously. Well happy about it.
I feel like I don't want him that close.
Well, it seems though I did the introduction for the last one.
It's James Panas' turn. That's the point in time that we needed the Vince McMahon puppet to come up from behind the chair.
In a very kind of massive tangent. Did you watch that hypothetical that was on Dave with James Acaster and Josh Whittaker? They do this round on there where it's like, how much money to do this, basically, and they present them with this hypothetical scenario. They have to do it for a year. They have to then bid for how much they would want money-wise to do it, and the lowest amount then has to explain how they would do it. Ramesh Ranganathan was on as one of the people, and the task was to wear a puppet of yourself on your hand for an entire year, and the rules of it were you can't tell anyone why you're doing it, and you've got to include them in the conversation as you're talking to people. And they'd made the puppets for all the different people that were on there, and Ramesh's puppet still had a lazy eye, and he was like, "You bastards!" Great. So funny.
Just on a side note, just before, obviously Matt, you can join in on this if you want, but I'm about to show Stu and Andy a picture.
Oh yeah, I saw that today. The Switch Lite.
So is that just basically supposed to be a bit like a DS?
Yeah, it'll be a handheld.
So it's,
Right, okay.
it's the official portable version of the Switch.
Isn't the Switch portable as it is anyway?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that they were aiming for, which hasn't been mentioned at any point in the announcement, is that they were supposed to be looking at improving the battery life.
Well, it says here, Nintendo Switch Lite, out September 20th, $200, better battery life, better D-pad, no TV output, smaller screen. I don't need this, but I still want this. Why do I still want this? I would have a Switch. I don't need this, but I still want this. What's wrong with me?
As a Switch owner, I won't be going anywhere near that because it's not got the removable side bits either for like your control pads, so can't play 2-player on it.
Sounds bullshit, mate.
Yeah.
One day.
So welcome to
After all that.
so getting over number 6. Like that sounds like we've got something like really bad against the number 6, but generally, the 6th episode of Cookiecast presents Getting Over. Welcome along. We have live and in person on the phone this evening.
Live streaming.
Mr. Matthew Moore.
Good evening. Alright.
Miss Andy Cook.
Thank you.
As usual, Mr. Paul Williams.
Downgraded.
Oh, well,
From the last episode, downgraded.
As we discussed in the last episode,
Mr.
because
Paul.
I'm so shit at predicting stuff.
we'll get to that. And myself, obviously, Stuart Woodmansey. Hello, everyone. And Mr. James Pat. Oh no, James isn't here yet. We are expecting him along shortly, so we will get to
set a chair up, put a cushion out for him for his delicate behind.
Oh no!
Yeah, he hasn't.
Paul's either just found out something really bad or he's just disappointed James isn't here yet.
To defend his title.
Oh no way!
Somebody's died.
Somebody's died.
Rip Torn's died.
Dude, that was yesterday.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyway.
Just so that everybody could do the hilarious R.I.P.
Ripped on.
R.I.P.
No.
I was like, when I saw it yesterday, I was like, why don't I know that? Oh yeah, Men in Black. Oh yeah, why don't I know that? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they went through about 3 or 4 different things that I knew him from. So yeah, much more famous than his name suggested to me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk some wrestles, shall we?
Let's talk wrestling. Let's talk Oh, okay, sorry.
Where do we want to begin, boys? We've got a bit to talk about today. So
We've got a fair amount to go through, so let's
Well,
jump straight in. Both
hands up. Anyone who went to go see their first Progress Wrestling show this weekend just been.
hands up doesn't really work if you just listen along, but just for those that are listening and not watching,
Mark's
it's me!
going to real struggle on this one.
just Paul,
the
everyone.
people on the phone as well.
So
Just to let everybody know, my hand isn't up because I don't have a series of lame excuses not to go to a Progress show.
Wow.
oh,
So,
It's shots have most definitely been fired.
well, let's talk about this. Matt, you still there? Because I'm having to just find something on my phone. You're still there, right?
yeah. So,
cool.
yeah.
So Paul's Progress cherry was popped this last weekend at Chapter 91, Prog on the Time, Newcastle, if you didn't guess from the title of the show. So the first thing to say, Matt, we're still waiting for Paul to buy everyone a beer.
Bollocks! No, you're not.
Not everybody a beer. You bought me and Matt one.
I'm Jit.
699 people, come on.
Yeah, the other 699 people are waiting for this.
The other 699 people can fuck off.
As is well known, if you're a Progress attendee, that if it's your first time, it's your round. Yeah, Paul.
But it wasn't just me that was the first timer.
No.
There was other first timers in the vicinity.
We did, because it was Paul's first time, try and slide into the DMs of Mr. Jim Smallman, one of the owners of Progress Wrestling.
How did that go?
He didn't read it out, but we did tell Paul about it afterwards, and part of the message was just wanted to say thanks to Paul's other friends for not having any stag do's, birthday parties, weddings or housewarmings this weekend, so he could finally not have an excuse so that he could actually join us. But yeah, that's true. So I'd like to put that on record now. Thanks for Paul's other friends for not having any of those events. And Paul did finally manage to get to a show.
It's a baffling concept.
I can't help it if all of my mates decide to get married in the same sort of 18-month span.
18-month span. This has been going on for a long
18
time.
months? I went to about 6 weddings last year.
Mate, I think I've been to 6 weddings I've ever been to, including my own.
In my life! And that's not a joke!
So, I guess we should really let Paul take it from here, as soon as it's his first experience. What did you think?
Different.
Oh.
Quantify.
Not necessarily worse. Not necessarily better.
Oh.
Just different.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
Do go on.
when it comes to independent wrestling, I have the issue where if I've not seen any of it before, I don't really know who I'm watching. So I have to base all of my thoughts on what I see in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And some of what I saw in the ring was very good. Some was alright. Some was not really for me. But on the whole, the majority of the show was very good. And arguably, I think I saw the best match I've ever seen live at some point during the match. Some point during the course of the night.
Well, I'm guessing from that you're talking about the number 1 contenders match between.
No, I'm talking about the match with Paul Robinson. Because
you definitely are talking about the Ilya Dragunov versus Jordan Devlin match, though, right?
I absolutely am. It would be getting the Dave Meltzer 7 stars if I was giving it out. It was unreal. So much so that I would like to cover that match last, if we may.
Okay, well, I do have the card written out, but I figured we'd probably just be talking highlights since we've got quite a bit to get through.
Yeah.
My personal highlights from it was definitely also that match as well. But getting to see, obviously, local boy Primate in his backyard in a Geordie street fight.
In a Geordie street fight, mate.
So
He definitely didn't jump off anything massive. Definitely didn't drop the C-bomb at least twice.
What was he out around town in just a t-shirt, even though it was winter?
T-shirt? He was cutting him out in just his pants, mate.
Good lad.
Matt, you got any particular highlights you want to talk about? We'll get stuck into that.
I mean, like I said, the Devlin. I think I don't know. It was one of them ones where kind of going to the show was it was, we said before, kind of a while back, that it's a transition kind of period for Progress at the moment, and a lot of the main kind of big characters and wrestlers that have carried the company for a long time have kind of gone on to WWE and AEW and Ring of Honor and IWGP in Japan, and it's just all New Japan. So it's kind of like building people that you've perhaps heard of, and when we first went to kind of Progress shows, we didn't really know them many people, or we'd seen them at like independent shows in Newcastle or stuff like that, but they're still not that kind of. They've kind of moved away from kind of stalwarts of the UK scene. So like even kind of in the past, Nathan Cruz has been there, so someone that you would recognise. Whereas now it's very much like new names, new wrestlers, new kind of people that you might have heard of here and there, but not kind of through kind of like bits and bobs, as opposed to I recognise him from here and there. But the Dragunov Devlin is the standout match.
Yeah. Well, you say about the transition thing. Obviously, last time we were on, we talked about the Super Strong Style 16 tournament that we went to, and that was almost like the big send off. And this show that we went to at the weekend for me was kind of very reminiscent of that first show that you and James took me to in Sheffield, in the sense of you going in. The card was, I mean, probably pretty average on paper, but it turned out for me, I went with kind of no expectations. Obviously, I've been to Progress before with you guys, but I didn't really expect it to be an absolute barn burner from start to finish. The first match was the More Than Hype versus Do Not Resuscitate. I'll be honest, I kind of drifted out of that a little bit, but from that point on, it got, excuse the pun, progressively better as it went on, and it kind of like. The first half was capped off by this match that we keep talking about, the Ilya Dragunov versus Jordan Devlin match, and it absolutely built and built and built, and that match was just, you could have put that match on any card anywhere and I think people would have stood and applauded.
Absolutely.
Whatever show it was on.
It absolutely would not have been out of place on a WrestleMania card. That's how good the match was for me. The quality of the wrestling was first rate. Really, really, really good.
And the good news is for the people that might catch WWE UK, that both of the guys that we talked about are both signed to that brand, so it's not something that we won't see again at some point, in theory. Oh, hang on, Matt, you've disappeared. Just 1 second, we'll get you up.
Sorry?
So to speak.
Let's
have a look. Do some talking, Paul.
Yeah.
Boo.
No, we're not American. The WWE UK, WWE NXT UK thing's weird for me, because even though it's been on for what feels like nearly a year, maybe.
Battery high. Connected to.
Even though it's been on for a year, I think I've only really watched like 2 episodes.
Connected to. Super Geek.
And they've been the takeover sort of specials or the championship tournament specials. So I've only seen very limited. I've only seen very limited bits of it. So I'm still trying to get used to the actual wrestlers, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to get used to who's on it, who's there, what the sort of working relationship is that they've got with Progress and things like that. And it's, if they have got this working relationship, you kind of hope that there's someone there from the actual WWE side that goes to watch all of the Progress things.
Well,
I know they've got Smallman and
Glenn Joseph.
that are on the
Riley
creative
as well.
side. Well, maybe not the creative side, but they get credits for NXT and stuff like that. But I'd kind of hope that there was actually someone American that's actually from the WWE side physically.
They don't need to be though, because Progress record everything that they do.
Yeah, I know, but you get a different feel from watching something live to how you do watching it taped. I always feel.
Can you still hear us, Matt? Are you back on? Why is this not working? Right. For some reason,
I've completely disconnected.
It's not putting your output through the speaker, so we're having a bit of a struggle.
It's not working.
Right. I might just sorry, ladies and gentlemen, technical difficulties. Right.
Technical difficulties.
I'll try and call you back, mate.
So, yeah, I mean that's on my part though. I need to put more of the effort in, I suppose, to actually watch it. But from the things that I have seen have been very good. They have made me want to watch more things and things like that. And I get the feeling that whilst it's still getting its start and things like that, they kind of need to lean on the more well-known names like a Pete Dunne.
Pete's done. Literally, Pete is done. He's finished with NXT UK with Progress.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's yeah.
Matt, are you there? Right, it's not playing.
Is it the speaker?
It says it's connected, but it's not having it. So, will it work on speakerphone still or not? Will it?
I mean, we've had issues with speakerphone before.
Do you want to try hooking Paul's phone up to it and Paul calling him? I'll disconnect from it.
Bear with us one moment. Yeah, disconnect.
Yeah. Okay. So. Alright. Right, okay, so. Right, I think Paul's going to call you, mate.
Right.
So Pete Dunne's been there, Tyler Bates been there. We've still got Trent Seven, who's still kicking around in Progress. He was in the title match back at Super Strong Style. He was in
I would have thought it'd be that.
a decent level match. There was a Progress chapter the day after we went to Newcastle. There was a Progress chapter in Manchester, and he was probably semi-main against Paul Robinson and picked up the victory. So Trent Seven's still a big player, and quite literally a big player. He is a big lad. So quite often the chant goes around when he's there is big lads wrestling.
Hello?
Hello?
He's back!
And he's back.
He's back!
So the main event from Saturday's event at Newcastle was current WWE UK champion and Progress World champion, unified with the Atlas Championship as well, was Volta. Paul's first time seeing him live as well. And Eddie Kingston. Okay.
So, at one point during the show, in fact, I think it was during the interval, obviously because it's an independent show, they still need to make money on their merchandise and things like that. So some of the wrestlers at the interval came out to work the merchandise stalls, one of which was Volta, and I turned to the lads and was like, he's not actually that tall in real life.
Definitely is.
Jesus.
But like he looks like he should be about 6'7".
Yeah, but if he stood up straight next to me, his full head is taller than I am. That is tall to me.
But the way I don't know if it's because Pete Dunne is shorter than like an average male, but
I don't think he is either.
At the Takeover New York show where they faced each other, Volta looked like he was massive compared to Pete Dunne.
But that's because he's not only taller, but he's somewhat wider as well.
Yeah, but on Saturday I just thought, yeah, he doesn't look that tall. He doesn't look that imposing. Like if you put him next to Triple H, I imagine Triple H would be taller than him.
No, not what, taller than Volta?
Yeah.
Are you on drugs? Not a chance.
Are you on drugs?
Am I on drugs?
Am I on drugs?
Are you on drugs?
Podcast exclusive is Paul on drugs.
Comment below.
But no, Matt's just said the same there. See, did you think he was going to be taller than that in real life?
Yes.
That's Pete Dunne.
I think this is the kind of thing that, like, when you kind of like listen to other things and read other things, is that this is the big difference, is that you step up onto the main roster in WWE and people are 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", you know, and whereas some of the other ones, like, you know, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, they're 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah.
And so Volta looks taller because he's probably 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
Triple H is 6'4".
That's his advertised height though, surely. Well,
Because I think it's that kind of step up every time of, like, you know, it's someone kind of just to compare. Well, we discussed my gripes about his wrestling style the other day, but like someone like Lars Sullivan, who is terrible, but he's come up onto the main roster after being billed as this monster, and he looks average.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just like, and I think that's going to be the thing with Volta, depending on kind of where he goes. Obviously, the big thing about, you know, he made a big statement about he wasn't going to join the WWE, he wasn't going to go to Florida, he wasn't going to do that, and then he's like signed to, you know, effectively WWE UK/Europe. You know, if he stays in Europe, he'll be fine because he'll look like the monster, he'll look intimidating and all that kind of thing. If he moves to kind of NXT or the main roster, that kind of side of him is going to disappear, and then you've got to be a good wrestler. And, you know, that's where you go from there, kind of thing. It's
on the height basis, we've just when you mentioned Pete Dunne, I've just flicked back through to the pictures from April when met Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne, if I'm stood up straight on that picture, is the same height as me. Volta was a full head above him, so Volta is definitely much, much bigger.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just like, I'm sort of siding with Matt on this one. His style's not exactly graceful.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
And his moveset isn't massively extensive. I got the feeling like his matches start off slow and then increase in pace towards the end. But I don't know if that's just because it's a big lad wrestling style and, like, you know, your first sort of like 5-10 minutes is your feeling out process. And then it sort of goes on from there. I mean, personally, I wouldn't have had it as the main event. In hindsight, that Dragunov Devlin match should have finished the show.
This is where we're going to get back into, like, the best wrestling match was definitely, as we mentioned, the Dragunov Devlin match. But your world title always goes on last.
Well, but should it though?
Yes, absolutely yes. And that is why some of the titles in the bigger company, shall we say, at the moment, are absolutely worthless because they're just crapped all over the WWE title and, like, even the Universal title to some extent by not having it in the featured match.
Yeah, but I mean, we've got to the point now where your world title doesn't necessarily mean that you're the main person on the show.
It absolutely should, though.
Where does that put the women then?
Well, okay, alright. Alternate it then if you like, because that is their main title as well. That is the world title to the women.
This is also the problem you have when you have technically 2 world champions, or if you're going to put the women into it, 4 world champions.
Yeah.
How the hell do you ever determine who is the true main event? So, for example, on WrestleMania, so fair enough, the 2 women's belts were fought for in the same match. So that's the kind of way you get around that, I suppose. But you had the WWE Championship was what? Slap bang in the middle of the card?
Yeah.
And the Universal Championship was the first match on.
But then that's part of the problem now with we've jumped massively from Progress straight into
No, I know, but
that's part of the problem now, because as much as like the Kofi winning the title thing was cool, and it's still a really good WrestleMania moment as they always aim for and all the rest of it, it kind of gets lost in the fact that the main takeaway from that show was the fact that Becky became the first person to pin Ronda Rousey, and win.
you missed
both.
the air quotes there, Matty.
I kind of got
The air quotes were implied.
They were vocal air quotes.
But it's one of the I think they should definitely keep it as the main featured belt, title. Sorry Vince, if you listen. But yeah, it's the traditionalist in me. Plus as well, even to this day, and I'll get slagged off for this, I'm sure. But when it's a title match, champion comes out last. Champion should not be coming out first ever. That devalues it as well for me. Because that's saying the challenge is bigger than the title, and then that's the whole point that they should be there.
Is it though?
Yeah. Just if anybody's listening to this that agrees with me, just hit some comments on the YouTube video. Send us a message on
Slide
Twitter.
into his DMs.
Well, yeah, as Jim says, I am a happily married man. So yeah, just give us a bit of feedback on that. Let me just wipe the smile off Paul's face when he's telling me that I'm wrong, but I'm definitely not.
Like you told James.
Yeah, exactly. Just like he told Mr. Panas that Bailey was definitely not winning the Money in the Bank match. How'd that work out for you, Paul? This is just whilst we're on Paul's predictions, prowess, shall we say? Wasn't this the guy that on the Can't See the Forest for the Tea said that it would take an almighty fuck up for Vince
All right, calm down.
fall out of the playoffs?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't foresee him fucking losing 6 games on the spin, did I?
Well,
Useless
he
twat.
didn't foresee Bailey.
Blame Tony Pulis.
He didn't foresee Bailey climbing that ladder either, did he?
No, because her ass got in the way.
Me neither, to be fair. Nobody did, apart from Panas, because
He'd heard of her. Classic.
We'll get to that. So, anything else we want to cover from the weekend? I think probably be remiss of Matt not to mention David Starr at some point.
Obviously.
That was a really good match. I enjoyed. Is it Brent Barry?
Brent Banks, yeah.
He was very good.
He was good, and I watched kind of just as a kind of thing. I watched his match just to kind of tie in the Jordan Devlin thing. I watched his match against Jordan Devlin at the previous kind of Progress chapter. Massive name, Lonesome, something of a death match, and that match is absolutely insanely good. So Devlin's on a roll, and as I've said to you before, the best thing about Devlin in Progress is you don't have to put up with that terrible Irish Ace gimmick that he's got in NXT UK, because that is terrible.
That is terrible. He has this guy he's from Bray, County Wicklow, Ireland, trained by Finn Balor. He essentially is mini Finn Balor. Well, same size Finn Balor, I guess, but in Progress, because he's from Ireland, he is known as, what is it? Which way around is it first?
Killer importer. In Ireland he's the import killer, but in Progress he's the killer import.
I think that's pretty cool.
But then they started saying the Irish Ace thing as well. I was like, no.
No.
That's a terrible WWE kind of gimmick thing. Keep that over there. We'll just stick with killer import or import killer. That's fine.
At which point Matt slammed down his slightly warm plastic glass of Old Speckled Hen and said, No.
Less of that.
Let's.
It was what was quite good. Just before the start of the main event, Mr. Moore was like, "Do you know what? I'm not having this," and started off his own.
Headed to the ring.
Trent is our champion. Trent is our champion chant, and it somewhat got over. I think he got a round of applause from one guy, didn't he?
Got a little bit of a pop there, big time. Yeah, it's quite good fun. That.
It was a bit of a if you know kind of moment.
No one to know, bro.
Bit of a super strong style throwback, but yeah, go back and watch it if you haven't. It was well worth it.
All in all, a good show.
You coming again, right?
I'd be very much up for going again, yes.
Unless there's a stag do.
Unless there's a stag do or anything else.
Christmas.
Or a birthday.
Or the opening
Or
of
a
the local
birthday.
supermarket.
some sort of beers going on somewhere.
So, I don't know if you guys know, but the latest rumour is that Paul is one of the paid wedding guests.
All right.
And obviously paid stag do attendee.
I thought that it was going to be like Wedding Crashers, the sequel.
It's something like that.
Picture Paul being rejected every time.
I mean,
No.
If you sort of chart it backwards, you know, all of these weddings and stag do's, when does he see these people?
At the weddings and the stag.
Yeah. Obviously.
But surely after your experiences this weekend, if like Dave from account says it's my stag do next weekend, you're going to bin him off to go to Progress, right?
Depends.
Oh.
Where's the Progress being shot?
Riverside.
Is it in Bratislava?
No.
Is it in Poznan?
No.
Is it in Krakow?
Look, right, this is not the time to get your passport dick out and whack it all over.
Passport dick out.
These are
Yes.
these are all the places I've been on a stag. How many times have I left the country in the last 4 years? That many times, people. Big fat.
Big fat bagel.
Yeah.
Not even gone to like Wales.
No, because I have responsibilities. I've been to Scotland. That's not leaving the country, is it? Because technically they're still in for the time being.
Shots fired.
I think my closest claim is I went to Dublin.
That's still getting on a plane.
Yeah, that's out of the country.
Apologies to our brethren north of the border. Stu doesn't mean it. He really does like
Hey,
it.
no, I've nothing against the people above the border. At least if they leave, they'll get to stay in the European Union. But I'm going to stay away from all of that right now. Shall we move on, gents? We've got Extreme Rules coming up this weekend.
Oh yes, indeed.
We can talk a little bit Extreme Rules. So we are awaiting the imminent arrival of the predictions expert. We're bigging him up and he won't even turn up now, will he? That'll be there.
I mean, I wrote him off the moment he started. I was like, he ain't coming.
I'm hoping that if he doesn't come though, that you're going to
You'll phone his predictions in.
Well, no, because let's be fair, we all need a chance of winning. But you just occasionally just stick a shot of the empty chair. Just
Can you
I
fashion?
mean, it looks really weird now because I've moved everything so that both chairs are in shot. So now it's just me slightly over to one
Can
side.
can you fashion a tumbleweed to just like roll over his chair?
I'm sure I could knock something
then-
up.
the card for the coming weekend has been knocked together somewhat quickly on the basis that they've had Super Showdown, Stomping Grounds, WWE Footboot as it was,
WWE footboot.
and now Extreme Rules, all within the space of about 8 weeks of each other. So it's been thrown together kind of quickly. We've got what has developed into, I believe, 10 or 11 match card. Some killer, probably quite a lot of filler. So with it being Extreme Rules, I would expect every single match to have some kind of stipulation. Definitely doesn't. I like a little bit of variation on it, and they have gone some that they've tried hard, some that they've just thought, nah, sod it. So let's have a quick run through. We've got Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley, last man standing. That could be much better than people expect. Since the takeover of Paul Heyman to the creative lead on Monday Night Raw, the first thing we got was a massive explosion with Braun Strowman putting Bobby Lashley through the stage, like through the Tron.
LED board or something like that.
It was pretty good.
That was cool. Like, I enjoyed that.
That it felt a bit like old school, like almost like when was it Rhino put Jericho through the old SmackDown Tron years ago.
Yeah, that was good. That was.
It felt kind of cool. I did enjoy that, and they made a big deal of it as well. Like they didn't just move on to like
The next match.
yeah.
Was it in a theory the thread that was running throughout the entire show? Was it like it's always an update on Lashley and Strowman? Blah, blah, blah.
A little bit, but then they also then on SmackDown the night after, they also then Lashley had left the hospital, so he did like a promo about Strowman, and one thing's now led to another. But because of the whole going through this stage kind of thing, that's why it's become last man standing, because neither man could get up at the time. Mm-hmm. So a bit of logic in a WWE story for the time being. So credit where it's due. We've got the return of The Undertaker, weirdly teaming up with Roman Reigns to take on everybody's favourite Shane McMahon and Big Drew McIntyre. It's been added. This has got a stipulation as well. It's been added no holds barred. I think part of that's probably to help carry Shane and The Undertaker as much as anything else. Yeah. Not really that bothered about what happens.
And to let
what difference does it make?
To let Kevin Owens interfere at some point after the promo we cut on SmackDown.
We very briefly touched on that on the last episode. That promo was exceptional, wasn't it? It was good.
Yeah. Again, more obviously to see the influence of people other than Vince making decisions on the show.
Absolutely.
We were saying, obviously Matt wasn't aware, but we were saying about what are the chances that Vince might actually start moving a little bit away from the WWE now that he's got another sport franchise.
The XFL starting
next year.
Next year. So I mean, he's got a while, but hopefully he'll that'll distract him enough to.
And isn't this the second time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is the relaunch of the XFL.
So you'd think he'd probably. He's not going to want too lots of egg on his face, is he? So he's probably going to put that bit more into it.
You would hope so.
It's a big deal for him because he even sold some of his shares in WWE to raise capital for it. So
I think the thing he needs to keep in the back of his mind is the fact that obviously you had the Alliance of American Football that launched earlier this year when the NFL season came to an end, and I think it lasted for a grand total of like 7 weeks, unfolded. So.
Was that about 5 weeks longer than the original XFL?
To be fair to the XFL got a full season.
Did they? Wow.
They did do a full season.
That's a lot less seasons than the old lingerie football league, though. So you
just, American football is America's game, barring it's the big four in it: baseball, basketball, American football, hockey.
Somebody sound the gong. He's arrived. Come on in, Mr. Panas.
He joined just at the right time.
The resident expert.
Toasty in here, isn't
It is a bit warm. Windows open. Still a bit warm.
He's just.
You joined just in time to do the predictions.
My best bit.
And trust me, there'll be plenty of people you've heard of, so we know where your predictions are going.
Brilliant.
We did talk about how you absolutely on the last. We recorded a little episode to fill people in. And we did talk about how you absolutely rinsed everybody.
Yeah.
So we shall see how it happens this time.
Maybe in the wrestling expert.
Not bad.
So we've also got a SmackDown Women's title match. Bayley, now champion, against Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss in a 2-on-1 handicap match. I think we know Mr. Panas will pick in that one.
I'm fairly certain that Bayley is not the champion because there's absolutely no way she's going to win that ladder match.
Oh. Pull your pants up, Paul. So there's a WWE title match with Kofi Kingston as champion versus Samoa Joe. There's a winner-take-all match, the Universal and Raw Women's title match in a mixed tag. Rollins and Lynch versus Baron Corbin.
I don't like the sound of that
and
match.
Lacey Evans.
I don't like the sound of that match one bit.
Potential show stealer coming up though, the US title match between Ricochet and AJ Styles, which should be spectacular if they let it go. SmackDown tag team titles in a triple threat: Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan versus The New Day versus Heavy Machinery. Blue collar solid. The cruiserweight title, which is definitely going to be on the pre-show. Drew Gulak as champion versus Tony Nese. So Aleister Black has finally had somebody knock on his door, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't been playing the postcode lottery. Daytime TV joke for everyone there. And it was rumoured that it was possibly going to be Randy Orton that he was facing.
Interesting.
But unfortunately for James, it's been Cesaro, so I'm guessing he's probably never heard of either of them two now.
Cesaro.
Whoa!
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a bigger shock than Cesaro answering that challenge.
We might need some light.
Raw tag team title match has been added as well, which is the Revival versus the Usos. There could still be another match added last minute, which might be Balor versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship. And we don't know about the status of one Brock Lesnar.
Block clear up.
So,
But there's also the Bray Wyatt stuff as well, isn't there?
yeah, Bray Wyatt could be lurking somewhere in there. We've not actually talked about that this time around, so...
We haven't. I realised towards the back end of the conversation we were on, I was like, oh no, I've broken podcasting rule number 1. don't have your conversation off air. You know? We had the entire conversation, and I'm like,
That's okay. Well,
so Firefly Fun House. Firefly Fun House. So, as everybody knows at this point in time, all information that is up here, 98% of it came from YouTube. And what I was saying, which I'll repeat on, is that I've noticed a distinct drop off of the last episode of Firefly Funhouse. And the last I saw, which feels like a long time ago, there was less of the good guy persona, whatever, the TV presenter, and more of him in the costume and the mask and stuff. And yeah, it seems like that's sort of almost disappeared, but apparently that's not the case.
No, I think the last episode of Firefly Funhouse was the week before Heyman and Bischoff took over. So we've had 2 weeks now.
So that's a little while ago.
Yeah, it's 4 shows, which is people with the attention span of wrestling fans are going to forget pretty quickly. So they've sort of almost Easter egged it, as we were sort of discussing before. So they've had like people walk into the ring, and the puppets that have been involved in Firefly Funhouse have been sort of hiding backstage, and they've not always been with the same person. They've been in multiple different segments over the shows, so it might be like Huskus the Pig one time, might be Abby the Witch the other time. They've been keeping him there in the background, and we're just waiting for it to happen now.
I imagine at this point in time, it's going to be what we think is going to happen versus what's actually going to happen, because between us in this room, we could probably write it like the perfect way to bring this all to a head and actually get him in the ring, sort of thing, and then what will actually happen will be just like when you let air out of the balloon, it's just like it's going to be that mixture, isn't it? Because they've built and built and built and built and built, and it does feel that they might have gone, what were we doing when we started this? What was the idea? What was the original idea? Where were we working towards? Because it's gone so well, and I think anybody that's been sort of into it is saying it's the best thing that they're doing at the moment. It does seem strange that it's just. But is that part of it?
I think it is. I think of everything that they've had, it's been the most well thought out bit on the basis that they've had throwbacks to sort of his old characters. It's everything seems to have had a reason so far, which is more than you can say for most of it has been over the last 6 months. So I'm still hopeful on that.
I presume it was you that was saying about the conspiracy about if you go back and look at his previous promos from years.
Yeah, we talked about that on
Stand Out.
Yeah.
After that conversation, the last video I saw, there was a definite particular words that were emphasised, and it's like that definitely adds weight to that theory.
Well, when we were talking about the one random line that was kind of out of place in all those different promos, somebody finally did crack it, and he did comment on it on Twitter to say, well done, that was it. And it turned out that the missing, or the not missing line, but the kind of the odd line out was essentially the title of each episode of Firefly Funhouse. So that's why it's come to an end, because they ran out of the title. So it was always going to come to an end at that point. And then I think the only bit they might not have had planned was that maybe he was supposed to debut at the end of that, and because they've had this change in direction, the puppets are still keeping the thought of him being in the background there. But I think now, because it's been such a big deal, they're just waiting to drop it at the right time. Whether that may be the pay-per-view coming, whether it's the Raw the night afterwards, maybe even SummerSlam. But SummerSlam is another 4 weeks away. Yeah. So it's not until the 10th of August, so they've got a long time to drag it out. I would hope it'll happen sooner. The obvious thing to do would have been, and what was rumoured as well as Orton, was to have him be the challenger for Aleister Black. But Aleister Black's gimmick is kind of a bit like into the unknown, a bit kind of voodoo-esque, if you like, and I think they were too close to each other to have them go against each other right from the off. I'd go so far as to say that Aleister Black... Why not get into the predictions now, because I'm going to drop one. Aleister Black is definitely winning against Cesaro. It's his first main match since hitting the main roster. I can't see...
Singles match? He was on WrestleMania.
Yeah, singles match. But in a Paul Williams-esque style prediction, there is absolutely no way that Aleister Black is losing that match. So I'm gonna
step me down for a Cesaro.
So I'm putting that one in the book right now for me.
It's in there already. It's already in.
Does anyone else
Lock it in.
Anyone else want to drop a prediction for that one?
Yeah, it's got to be Aleister Black. It's got to be, and it should be an awesome game because it's kind of a almost a match written in progress really, because they're two of Jim Smallman's favourite wrestlers, and it's two styles that should work really well, and just kind of hoping that it gets a good match out of Cesaro, because he's just been left to be a bit of a gimmick for so long now that it just seems as a good wrestler against another good wrestler.
I'd like to see almost like a bit of a career rebuild for him, and I wouldn't be massively disappointed actually if these two feud for quite some time, because they could have a decent series, I think.
Mm-hmm. Like a best of 7 or something like that.
Yeah, why not? Right.
Although best of 7 would indicate that Black, unless he's going to win 4 straight, would have to lose a couple along the line.
Yeah.
And it's... This is one of those times where Aleister Black should be built exactly the same as he was in NXT, where he shouldn't lose for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
However, this is Vince McMahon's WWE we're talking about, so...
But with Bischoff now in charge of the SmackDown...
Yeah, but, I mean, I agree with you 100%. He should win this match, and probably will win this match.
Is there a but in there, or are you going with Black?
No. I'll nail my black colours to the mast, so to speak.
Andy?
You've got to go for Aleister Black. He's almost as tattooed as you are.
I mean, everything you're saying is making a lot of sense.
He's from Amsterdam.
Jesus. I mean, it's going to be hard to go against all that, you know.
It might knock you down. It might knock him down in your estimation if I tell you that he did do that stupid bottle cap challenge thing this week.
Did he?
Yeah.
Alright.
I'd have preferred it if he'd have actually broken the bottle as just opposed to take the top off it. I think that'd have been more fitting.
Yeah, go on then.
Going Aleister Black?
Yeah, I mean, part of me was like, I'm just going to go against the grain and just, Cesaro, but I was like...
It's got to a point now where, bear in mind, Cesaro could pretty much lose every match he's in from now until the end of his career. It's not going to change anything about his character.
James?
Absolutely going Cesaro, because I've heard of him.
You see, I'm sitting there, I'm like, me and James should be on the same page, because I know he's going Cesaro.
You know when we were doing the NFL predictions, and you adopted the principle of, this is what I think will happen,
and this is the team I don't want to win.
Go for the opposite predictions. Don't know why you've not just started doing that.
Now, I've played it wrong, haven't I?
Well, put it this way, if Cesaro wins that match, that's James 1-0 up already.
Fuck.
So, we'll where do we want to go next? Do we want to go through all the matches, or are we just going to pick the highlights like that one? Or?
Might as well go through them all.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be lengthy,
rattle
does
through
it?
and go.
Okay, Cruiserweight title, everybody's favourite pre-show match. Drew Gulak versus Tony Nese. Matt, who are you going?
Drew Gulak has only just picked up the title, so
Yeah, me too.
I think they'll keep that feud going, or I don't know, there'll be some, or it'll be kind of. I don't know when it even gets to the end of the match without
I don't know if that's a
someone getting involved in it, like Mike Kanellis or something like that. But if you get to the finish, then Gulak will win. But I'm kind of wondering whether it'll even finish.
I've gone Drew Gulak as well.
Turn it off.
Samesies.
Again when he's finished.
Yeah, Gulak for Paul. James.
Nice.
Oh, he's doing it on purpose now.
Well, that one is because I've absolutely heard of neither of these two characters.
Uh-oh.
Decision time, Andy.
Put me down for the Gulag.
The goo. The goo.
Okay, so let's move on to the SmackDown tag team titles. Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan versus The New Day versus Heavy Machinery. Who wants to take this one first?
I really don't know on this one.
Do you mean I really don't care on this one? Oh.
I was going to say I don't really care on this.
Well, I mean that as well. But I don't know. I kind of feel like Heavy Machinery have had enough matches now where it wouldn't surprise me if they put the belts on them.
Titles, Paul, titles.
Sorry, a belt's something that holds up your trousers that you get at JC Penney apparently. Yeah, stick me down for the doors.
I am finding them more entertaining as time goes on, but I'm still going for the Planet's Tag Team Champions.
Oh God.
Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan.
No guess for what you're fucking picking.
Brian.
Of course.
Going Daniel Bryan as well.
Of course he is. He's heard of him.
Andy?
Heavy Machinery for me, please.
Heavy Machinery for Andy. Yeah, Matt?
Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan.
New Day not getting any love whatsoever.
Oh, they
Your winners are new tag team champions. The
They-
New Day.
do my treeing.
Really?
Yeah.
What, you mean the WWE? Oh, for the YouTube watchers, they're in for a treat when they watch Paul do that. Speaking of tag team matches then, let's move on to the newly added Revival versus the Usos for the Raw tag team titles. This could see the Usos potentially become 7-time tag team champions in the WWE.
That's going to be a sneaky good match.
It should be. Depends how much time they get.
And if it's on the pre-show.
I would probably think it might be pre-show, which is the difficulty.
Stick me down for a retain.
Okay, Revival for Paul. James?
Usos.
I am also going Revival because they've made a deal about the 7-time titles thing, so I'm thinking probably not reading into it. Andy?
Usos.
Casting a vote for you, Matt.
Revival for me.
Good man.
I think they're trying to brown nose them to make them stay in the WWE. So
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely in
Well,
it.
please don't go to the AEW.
Unless they're going to pull a Micah Maria and reveal that one of them's pregnant after they've just signed their deals. It's probably highly unlikely. Right, okay, so Ricochet versus AJ Styles.
Like you said earlier, this will definitely be match of the night.
I hope so.
Is there any stipulation to this, or is it just,
It's-
Extreme Rules? The
No.
only Extreme Rule is that there are no rules.
No, it's the only rule is there are no rules. No, it's just a straight up match. I'd say that Gallows and Anderson will be lurking somewhere, and I'm going to go so far as to say that Ricochet will win by DQ for that very reason, because they have to be mean and nasty because they've just come back as bad guys. So.
That's a point. How many of these matches are actually...
Stip matches.
Yeah.
So there is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 matches.
PG Extreme Rules.
Exactly.
Well, one of the things that I'd read about the history of Extreme Rules was that it was carried on after the demise of ECW One Night Stand.
Yeah.
I would watch ECW One Night Stand and then this and see which you prefer. I think we all know what the winner will be. So I'm definitely going Ricochet for that one.
Yeah, stick me down for the Irishman.
Stick me down for the Irishman. I was waiting to use that joke the whole time.
Matt, how you going, man?
Yeah, Ricochet. They're not going to put a mid-card belt on AJ Styles. Then it's not. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
That's Matt making a Williams-like prediction once again.
And who are you going to go for?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm absolutely sure I've never heard of Ricochet, and I might have heard of AJ Styles.
That's likely.
So, AJ Styles.
Okay.
Oh dear.
It's
It's a winning formula.
It's either going to go one or two ways. Either that Gallows and Anderson are going to get involved to help him win it, or they're just going to absolutely smash the crap out of him as a DQ. I just can't see it any other way.
That's definitely not PG.
Let's go to the SmackDown Women's Championship match. This is one of the stipulation matches. Nikki Cross won a Beat the Clock challenge to determine the stipulation on this match for her good friend Alexa Bliss and inserted herself into the match. So it's now a 2-on-1 handicap match for the SmackDown Women's title. It's not been outlined anywhere what happens if Nikki Cross is the one that makes the pinfall or submission.
I've been reading a lot of things on Twitter just recently that say something along the lines of co-champions, which they have done before.
Alexa Bliss has fed it into the story that, oh yeah, if we win, then we'll be co-champions. But I think if she does win, then Bliss will probably keep the belt to herself.
Let's put it this way. There's definitely a turn. Well, I say turn. She's already a heel as it is. But there's definitely a betrayal written all over that partnership. So.
Yep. James, seeing as you were the only person to pick Bayley to win the Money in the Bank match, I think you should probably pick who goes first in who wins first in her match.
Bayley.
Obviously. It's so obvious.
Matt,
Anything to add to that?
Matt, who you got?
I was before we were talking about it. I was like, no, Bayley's definitely going to win because there'll be some kind of like, Nikki Cross will go for the pin and then and that kind of thing. But then the more we talked about it, they kind of thought of like Alexa Bliss winning it, or and then not sharing it with Nikki Cross, and then that feeds into SummerSlam. But I mean, are they going to put Nikki Cross as the one of like the not main event, but the kind of the SmackDown belt? Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss as the kind of like that match. I can't see it. That's the thing I can't see. So kind of a roundabout way of saying I started at Bayley and then I've come all the way back round to Bayley again.
After all that, I didn't expect that as the finale.
That was amazing.
You talked yourself out of it and then back in again.
Oh, right round, yeah. And a couple of detours as well along the way.
Paul?
They do seem to like putting the belt on Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
But Bayley's literally only just won it. Stick me down for Bayley as well.
Well, technically, like 3 events ago, whatever it is, one now.
Yeah, but she's not had it long, has she?
A lifetime.
They need to stop.
WWE.
They need to stop playing hot potato with so many of the belts. Sorry, titles.
Or just thin them out a bit.
What's this?
Yeah.
Explain this belt stroke title thing to me.
So Vince McMahon hates the phrase belt.
Right.
But
you do win belts though, right?
Yeah.
But the famous phrase from him is that you don't, like, a belt is something that holds your trousers up. A championship title is something that you win.
Right.
So this is the guy who's worried about devaluing a title and then sticks the main title on the middle of the card, as we've discussed earlier.
And then Becky Lynch calls herself Becky Two Belts, and they release a T-shirt with it on. So
the only one left, and it's not a casting vote by any stretch. It's the question of, is it going to be a Bayley clean sweep at this point? Everybody,
don't be afraid to be the one out, Andy.
Everybody has picked Bayley. We've been burned before, James. We're taking your guidance.
We're following your lead.
Yeah, boy.
Perfect.
Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley, last man standing.
Braun Strowman.
Me too.
Me 3.
And if they can somehow get in there, him crushing a car in the process, so they can sell another toy, then put me down for that as well.
It'll be, he makes the pinfall by dropping a car on him.
Yeah.
Me 4, anyway, yeah, Strowman as well.
Paul?
Oh.
He just wants to be an arse.
No, part of me wants to put no contest for this one, to have like a sort of a rehash of the...
It's a last man standing match, though. No contests are very difficult to pull off and be believable.
Both of them not be able to stand. That's happened before.
Yeah.
They're like, it almost seems like they've forgotten about Lashley and now they're trying to push him again. So it wouldn't make much sense for him to lose.
You could say the same for Strowman.
But they kind of don't seem to care about him at the minute. Strowman's very much been sort of pushed to the back.
But hasn't that been the problem for quite a while? And then they're trying to bring him back now.
I would suggest that, given the Paul Heyman factor, Strowman will be a bigger factor than he has been previously.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know with this one, because Hasn't Lashley just had he had a big win against someone on Raw? Oh, he toyed with Mysterio a little bit. He was ragdolling him about a bit.
Yeah, Mysterio came back, didn't he, on Raw this week, and got absolutely obliterated.
Yeah. Again, I kind of feel that it makes no sense.
Flip the goddamn coin.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense for either of them to lose.
Okay, so you picking no contest, or you?
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
That is a bold prediction. One which we will hold you fully accountable for next time around.
Either that, or put it down as Vince somehow manages to get himself in the match and is declared the winner.
Not a chance. Not a chance. If that happens, all other results are void, and you can just win, because that is not happening.
It's the only way you win.
Shots fired.
Right, Undertaker, the return of the dead man with Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon, Drew McIntyre. No holds barred. Not to be confused with the film from the 80s.
I've got an issue here because I've heard of all of them.
Oh my God.
Who have you heard of more?
Which have you heard of the most? Surely it's the Undertaker.
All of them except McIntyre.
There. Okay.
Is there a possibility?
He's the weak link in my formula.
Is there a possibility here? And I already know the answer to this. Is there a possibility here where they do a storyline where the Undertaker turns on Reigns?
Yes, but that has been done before, hasn't it? I guess when they had a WrestleMania match. So, is it likely?
But is that not the idea that he'll turn on him because he did beat him at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Since he's come back from his cancer, Reigns has lost, what, one match?
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Undertaker and his match against Goldberg then for a second, but
Oh dear. So since he's come back, he's lost one match, and that was against Shane in Saudi.
Yeah.
Is he not due another loss? I mean, there's no way the Undertaker's going to be getting on the losing side because he doesn't lose matches anymore because he barely fucking wrestles. But
Let's as always play fantasy booking, and I'll tell you why I've picked Shane and Drew McIntyre. Because Shane will end up still challenging for the title at SummerSlam, in my opinion,
and winning.
And Undertaker is back as an active competitor to build somebody up. That somebody will be Drew McIntyre.
Oh, God,
that match will happen at SummerSlam.
Undertaker versus McIntyre?
Yes.
Fucking hope so. Fucking hope McIntyre wins as well.
There we go. That's my thought. I think that's where it's going. That's what I'm going
He's
with.
thought this one through.
I don't think about much else, to be
I
fair.
like the logic. It's awesome. Stick me down for Reigns and Undertaker.
Serious?
I mean, that's it, isn't it? That's it. You've put far too much thought into it. You've put more thought into it than they're going to have done.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's got to be exact opposite of what you said.
Mm-hmm.
So you're all picking Reigns Undertaker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt,
Basically.
what's your...
Yeah, I've learned from experience. Oh, yeah, that sounds great.
Them lose.
Hang on a minute.
It's just, and God, it's going to be terrible.
So sorry, I missed the beginning of what you said. So are you going Reigns and Taker?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Just, words. I'm lost for words because I just don't understand it. Yeah, I see it and I'm like, no. He turns up and bless him, the Undertaker. Yeah, new hit, whatever. It's painful to watch.
He's newly refurbished after all the money he made at that convention in April and all of the money he made from flying to Saudi for concussion almost.
Good, well, broken neck, yeah.
Yeah.
Out for, like an actual dead man, but
Living the gimmick.
The thing about it is, when he went out of it, it was like, oh, right, okay, But then the more you thought about it, the more it was like, actually, no, it's probably a good time. It's about the right time, and yeah, when it was announced, when he came back, it was like, I don't know if we need this.
No.
And obviously that character's huge.
Yeah.
And it's money. You're going to lose money putting that character to bed and stuff. But the short version is he can't really
Are
wrestle
we-
anymore.
Are we at the point now where he's actively not been a full-time wrestler for nearly 10 years?
Jesus, well, when was it his last kind of... Was he even still full-time when they did the Triple H End of an Era match?
I think he was.
That could have been the end, though, then.
No, so he had the 2 matches against Michaels, and I think he was still full-time then. And it might have been after he had the second Michaels match that he went to just doing like
The big stuff.
2 or 3 shows a year.
Mm.
So that was 27.
Mm-hmm.
Was the first year he had the match with my Triple H.
Yeah.
So yes, that would be 12 years ago.
Mm. Yeah, it's
That
starting
doesn't seem right.
Well,
12
I think
years ago, that can't be right.
however long it was, it's starting to feel like he's hanging around.
8 years ago.
But it's like with the whole there's like a clip that's been doing the rounds of an interview that he did years ago when he was like American Badass Undertaker years ago, about how he doesn't want to be around for like he didn't want to outstay his welcome. He wants to just do it till he feels like he can't do it anymore, or as well as he was at that time. Fucking hell, mate, what have you been watching? Because that's been a good while now. So,
Does his bank balance not support his earlier?
And I think
thoughts,
that, and I keep going back to it, and I'll keep going back to it until it changes. I honestly think that's something to do with it. I think because wrestlers are largely undervalued, that they just have to keep going and keep going and keep going because
Has he got a lot of ex-wives to support here? Or?
yeah, he has got one, yeah.
I mean, there's no way The Undertaker's not getting 7 figures every time he makes an appearance.
He'll have been getting like top dollar, like 8 years
Without
ago,
question.
whatever, when he stopped or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Without question. Every time he wrestles, he'll be getting 7 figures. He'll be getting at least $1 million every time he wrestles.
The
He has to be.
Has he got any new vices though?
Bikes.
Right, okay,
Tattoos.
they're not that expensive.
Depends how big a bike he's getting.
Not in the grand scheme of things.
Not if he's getting not if he's rocking out that once a month for 7 figures. I don't think you can have that many bikes.
Well, I don't know. He's into real estate, isn't he?
You can buy a small island with the amount he gets paid, probably.
That's what I mean though, has he been burned on some dodgy investments?
Pyramid selling.
Whatever.
Shall we move away from that very swiftly? Okay, so two matches left to go. Seeing as it's the biggest one, we'll leave the winner take all till last.
Is this where Stu's going to have his 25-minute rant about the fucking piece of shit that's in the main event?
No, because I quite like Lacey Evans. It's really
Way!
so we'll get stuck into Kofi versus Samoa Joe. Is Kofi losing the WWE title this week?
Well, I saw something that said that apparently he might have been injured at a house show this weekend.
I think that's just shite they've put out to make you think
Right, okay,
that.
fair enough then. I'd love it if he did. This is one of those matches where it's kind of win-win for me. Happy if he keeps the title, more than happy if it goes to Joe. But I think Kofi will retain.
Cool. I also think Kofi will retain. I think it could even be another tease for as the aforementioned Mr. Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Kofi could win because on SmackDown they pulled out the Trouble in Paradise kick, which laid out Joe. It's a very quick finishing move. It could be a quick 1, 2, 3, even if he's been battered for the entire match, which will then lead to Samoa Joe pulling his monster routine afterwards, laying him out with a Coquina clutch, and then here comes Brock Party.
Again, there's been a lot of thought going into this one.
yeah, Samoa Joe for me, please.
Again, it's long overdue for him to win a big title in the company. So
Do you know what's going to happen? We've talked about it before about like the Bischoff and Heyman being in charge of the company. Toy Story being at the cinema. It's like the early 2000s all over again. What happens if AJ gets one world title and Samoa Joe gets the other, and it's like TNA from like that time all over again? The plot could yet thicken. Matt, who are you picking?
I'll come back to something at the end.
Yeah, Kofi Kingston. I think I don't know. They're not going to he's not going to drop the title on a B C kind of pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be on. I presume he'll probably drop it at SummerSlam to hopefully not to Shane McMahon, because God's sake.
Get on board, Matt. It's happening.
100%.
Yeah. It's just deal with it. It's good. It's
But,
good.
if he drops it, if he eventually drops it to Joe or Kevin Owens, then I'll be fine with it. But yeah, he's not going to drop it at this pay-per-view. I wouldn't have thought.
But,
so yeah, I'll take Kofi Kingston.
bold prediction from me right now is that he is losing it to Shane McMahon. Shane versus Kevin becomes the new Stone Cold Vince. That's where I'm. That's where I'm.
Quite cool.
That's where I'm going with it. So James,
Kofi, all day long.
okay.
All day long. All day long, man.
New day, new all day long. That was terrible.
Oh,
I attempted it. I went there.
back to the drawing board,
Yeah,
man.
I'll stop. Yeah, under B.
He tried his best.
So, winner take all time, we have the Universal Champion, Mr. Seth Rollins, the Raw Women's Champion, Becky Lynch, versus Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin.
Stu's favourite wrestler?
I would like to possibly go last.
No, surely not.
I mean, maybe I got this wrong, but I'm sure from what I've seen of Raw, did Lacey Evans come out and crotch shot Becky Lynch?
I've not
I didn't
seen
see that. I saw her punch her in the face with the woman's
I'm
right.
sure there was some kind of thing before that where she kicked her, and I was like, that is bold. That's a really kind of bold move if that's what we're going with. I like it, but you know.
I don't know. I imagine it might hurt to get kicked in the old lady bits.
But I was like, oh, fair enough, you know. But Jesus, yeah. I just wish they would have paired her with somebody else.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I'm gonna just bite my tongue. Just bite my tongue. Off you go, boys. Keep going.
I'm gonna hold back.
I'll go first with prediction. Then I think Corbin and Evans are gonna win it.
Literally, people like it. You might have listened. Have you listened to the Edge and Christian podcast recently?
I haven't listened to it for a couple of weeks now.
So Edge and Christian. Well, Edge was saying this week. He was like, people need to get off. People need to get off Baron Corbin's case. At the end of the day, he's a heel. You know, people are supposed to dislike him and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, people don't dislike him because he's a heel. People dislike him because he's a terrible wrestler, and his part in the storyline is atrocious. People don't dislike him because he's good at what he does. So there's a fine line.
This is what we talked about before, you know, with all the Seth Rollins kind of just going off one, you know, just going completely postal on Twitter the other week, and you just kind of think, no, what our problem isn't with the wrestling, you know, you know, we acknowledge the fact that some of you are probably the best wrestlers in the world. It's the storyline stink, and the fact that shit wrestlers are put over for God knows what reason, and decent wrestlers are buried in, not even in the mid card, just buried basically. You know,
they just don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
James, I think, was about to offer a prediction.
No, he's gonna keep his powder dry apparently.
No, Rollins and Lynch.
Oh, okay.
Is that based on what we've said, or is that because you've heard of them?
I've absolutely heard of those two, and not the other two.
Andrew?
Same for me, please.
What? Because you haven't heard of the other two?
I read the other two. I have to listen to Paul talk about his love for Baron Corbin. Every single podcast. It's getting a bit embarrassing.
Is he not like are you a bit of a changed man on the Corbin front though? Because like I've genuinely always thought he was shit.
I don't mind him. I think he's not actually that bad.
Okay, he's not a changed man. That's a lie.
However, there's absolutely no way that he should be a world champion, and someone like Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn are nowhere near the title picture. This match worries
Apart
me.
from one of those three you just mentioned.
Is in the
title match.
This match worries me because it's the exact sort of thing that they've been doing for the past year, and it's exactly what's getting people turning off. The fact that they put the winner take all stipulation on it, for me, indicates there's going to be some shady dealings going on here. So stick me down for Corbin Evans duel win.
Explain the winner-take-all
So,
concept to me.
whoever pins the other person wins the match for their team.
Yeah.
So if Seth Rollins pins Baron Corbin, Rollins and Lynch both win and retain their title.
Oh.
Whereas if
Either of the challengers.
it could be something like we get Lacey Evans covers Rollins for the win. And because there's been some fucking nonsense, like what's happened is WWE have secretly signed Will Ospreay, and he comes in and costs Seth Rollins the match.
I thought my predictions for the potential Stone Cold rehash was bold, but that's even worse.
Can I have a little side box?
Go on then.
Brock Lesnar comes
Broccoli
down,
Rock.
pins and takes all of the titles.
He can't be the women's
Of
champion.
course he can.
He can be whatever he wants to be. It's Brock
It's
Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar.
It's Brock fucking Lesnar, man.
Right.
Right, this is where we all need to leave. And Stu has his moment of quiet reflection.
This almost becomes like the screaming room with like the door where you close it. It's like the bit off Ace Ventura.
So, legitimate question.
Yeah.
If Corbin wins this match, do you give up and stop watching?
No, because let's be honest, there are lots of things that have happened inside the last 6 to 12, to probably even longer that probably should and could have stopped me watching.
Is
The fact that we're sat here still talking about it kind of indicates that
is
I'll
is,
still watch it.
is this
At
guy
least
the
until
guy
next
you've
week.
hated the most since you've been watching wrestling?
Hate is
Is
a
this the
very
person you hate
strong.
the most since The Rock?
Since time
That's the
started?
question.
Yeah.
And
Does he tick you off more than arguably the greatest wrestler that ever lived?
DJ.
what, Ric Flair?
No, Mr. Johnson himself.
Johnson Pine. Nature Johnson Pine. He's probably the person that winds me up the most
Grinds your gears.
since The Rock. However, that's for very different reasons. Because at least The Rock was good at one element of it, which was the
eyebrow.
The way I was going with the microphone, he could talk, but Corbin can't even do that.
But
So
I think we can all agree that Hobbs and Shaw trailer is fucking lit.
I
This time.
haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't watched it. I kind of like avoid watching trailers for films I really want to watch.
So why haven't you watched it then?
Ooh, shots fired.
Oh man,
Anyway,
I
right,
love Fast
so
and Furious.
terrible,
Very
terrible.
fun trailers.
Corn Stew, vent.
So this match
It just
concerns
happened
me
in
greatly,
WWE.
as you said, and marketability wise, it makes all the sense in the world to keep Rollins and Lynch as the title holders.
Baron Corbin.
So
As in,
I'd like to say that they're going to win. However,
who's the second?
there's two. I'm going to take a page from your playbook on this one, and I think there has already been and will continue to be some kind of shithousery that will occur. And as much as I'd be pleased to see Lacey Evans being the women's champion, I'm not sure that can really come at the cost of then Corbin being shoved down everybody's throat as the Universal Champion.
Brock Lesnar.
Well,
Is that the way they get around it?
yes.
That they have them win the match, but then Lesnar comes in and cashes in?
Lesnar comes down and absolutely annihilates everybody that's in the
I mean, the only thing that will happen there is that instantaneously makes Brock a face. Do they want that?
But that will, if that's the way they're going with it, if that will happen, not on the same night, because they are absolutely keeping that cash in for the first SmackDown that's on Fox.
Do you reckon?
There's been a lot of money exchanged hands for that. That is going to pull in even more viewers than it would. So, as much as it pains me to say this, I am picking Corbin and Evans, and like,
Is there a possibility here that we've had the Becky Lynch the man thing for long enough now, where they're going to turn her a heel full time this time.
There's too many factors playing into this. There's the fact they've been publicising the relationship that's occurring between.
It's
Lynch
just got
and Rollins.
it's got this. We need to ruin this all over it, or we need to turn this into a negative for both of them.
They've spent
in a weird way.
They've spent the last 2 weeks online trying to give them like a cutesy couple joint team name, like combining Rollins and Lynch. So like Rinch or Recky.
Yeah.
And both of them have publicly commented on those pictures online saying, please don't do this, we don't need to do this. They've then gone and released a t-shirt for Seth Rollins called The Man's Man. Absolute fucking horseshit. It is terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I don't know, I think that Rollins and Lynch are more marketable than the other two. But is that just a ready-made rematch for SummerSlam?
So it's a winner-takes-all match.
Yeah.
Is it no disqualification?
No, it shouldn't be.
So technically, they could win by DQ.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, I guess
But they won't win the titles.
that hadn't even occurred to me because I don't think it will go down that.
I don't think it will like that either, but it's a possibility.
Rock.
Lesnar.
You want that putting in your thing, don't you?
I've said
it. Yeah, it's in.
I want
It's
an
down.
additional box.
It's down. He's got a little line off there.
How did you miss that?
I was too busy just listening to the word shithousery.
If the guy that like looks like he should be managing a TGI Fridays wins that title, that is terrible.
Wow.
He's got to his credit, his finishing move is pretty cool, but give that to anybody else of his size and stature that has, let's say, another at least 3 or 4 moves to his moveset, and it would instantly be better. But he is terrible. I think I've just killed it with that, haven't I? At least everybody kind of agrees, I guess. Cool. Well, that is all of the predictions for this weekend's Extreme Rules.
Excellent.
We've got everything in place just for Paul's benefit, since we haven't mentioned this already. I don't know if this is going to make you want to change any of your predictions, but it emanates from the Wells Fargo Centre.
Scratch all my predictions. What time's it taking place at?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, there you go.
8 Pacific.
And yeah, I think that's all the predictions done. So, anybody got anything else they want to cover?
Yes.
Here we go.
I remembered something halfway through. In the last couple of days, WWE have actively been teasing Sting and splicing it with Undertaker-based things.
What?
Yeah, because the match that we've never had was Sting versus The Undertaker. There was a video released that was like a fantasy warfare thing though, which was just essentially like a video of like what ifs. Mm-hmm. I still don't think we ever need to see that match.
We absolutely do not. However,
we do not need to see that, and if we do need to see it, we want you to just scratch the eyes out because it's just going to be god awful. The only way we should see that match is if they do like where they do mock-ups of football matches or basketball things on where they kind of recreate it. The only way I want to see that is like a kind of like a simulation of it, and that's fine. But I don't want to see them to hobble around take 20 minutes to get down to the ring each, and then hobble around the ring for 5 minutes, and then have some schmaltzy finish where you just say, it's bollocks. No.
Get them to do the full ring entrances in full ring gear, get down to the ring and just play WWE 2K against each other as the characters.
Yeah, just shake hands and turn back around. That's fucking awesome. Right, for me. Right, see you later. I'm going back to my house.
See,
just do that. They might as well get Hulk Hogan to come down. And God knows what. It's just a terrible idea.
Matt's just unfortunately triggered the internet radar has gone off, and now they've booked that match with Hogan as the special guest referee.
Oh. God, with Vince wanking in the corner.
Drying himself off on all them dollar bills.
Oh God, this is good shit.
Enjoying it so much. They're going to really enjoy this. Oh my God, it's like 30 years ago when I actually knew what I was doing.
Maybe they could get the Devil Vince puppet to be the special guest ref instead.
That's the only way it'd work.
That's watchable.
Puppet to all
Spoiler up just before the match. Please note, to enjoy the following presentation, you must take this amount of drugs.
No amount of drugs in the world would ever make you enjoy that. It's just...
Well, I'm prepared to find out. That's a thing.
So I think that brings us to the end, really. Anybody else got anything?
James? No. I have a small piece of business. Whilst trying to pry Mr. Panas out of the office today, I kept saying to him, you have to come this evening so that you can lift your title above your head and, show it off and all this, that and the other. Which made me think, pretty sure we need a title. Now, all I can think is, when I sent you that picture of that belt title, whatever you want, that was like reduced and like on sale and stuff, it's like, if I'd have bought it at that point in time, we'd have had that.
That is cool.
So, between now and the next podcast, we need to agree and source a title.
That sounds like a great... What, like a predictions championship?
Predictions. And it can either be, like, at this point in time, like I was saying, you got to come and you got to lift your title. So, like, for this podcast, James would be the champion.
Mm-hmm.
And then would, at this point, be defending his title.
The reigning...
So this
defending.
is like the pay-per-view?
Yeah.
I love it.
That's a great idea.
I love it.
So, off air, we can have that conversation and whittle it down to which title it should be. And then we need to source...
Eco Championship.
Not for the brass there.
No.
Source it.
It'd be... Matt, if you win, though, it'd be cheaper to post to you, at least. So that's it.
And then decide how we're going to go about it. I'm personally feeling the cheapest and tackiest as possible, but I'm just throwing that out there.
So that'll be the TNA World Championship.
No. I've got an idea, but let's talk off air.
Somewhere
That's a cliffhanger.
Are we talking full size or mini?
Well, I mean, the picture I sent you,
Or even, are we going toy plastic one?
well, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking toy plastic,
They can be obtained.
Tina's finest.
They can be obtained from B&M Bargains. Is it B&M Bargains?
I have ideas, but like I said,
we'll take it offline.
We'll leave it as the cliffhanger.
Yes.
Tune in next time then to
see what we've come up
to
with.
literally see who will be defending their championship. Oh man,
the coronation of the first ever getting over champion.
It just got real.
Shit's just got real.
I've got what can only be described as a 7/8 chub.
Something to hang the title off.
£378.
That's with Prime as well. That'll be delivered the next day.
Right then. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, thank you once again for joining us in the Batcave. Matt, thank you for dialing in.
Thank you for having me on.
James, thanks for joining us eventually with your incredible insight as always.
No props. I will be here next time to
defend the
title.
title. Yeah, obviously.
Well, he's owed one now, isn't he?
He is. So yeah, until next time, folks.
£9
Yeah, until next time, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Obviously, now it's going to take 10 minutes to get a chair. So it's not quite by yet. But right. Thank you, right.
Guten Tag.
Good
morning.
Guten Abend.
Guten Day. Guten Abend.
So badly.
Guten Abend.
So there you go then. What do you think to that? Another one in the bag. Another week gone. Double bubble this week. 2 wrestling podcasts for the price of 1. How nice is that? As always, it's a huge thank you to Stu for making the trip over. Always appreciated that he makes the journey. And Thank you for Mr. Panas for joining us. And yeah, thank you to Paul. That's Wrestling Podcast done for now. We'll be doing more when there's more, so look out for those. YouTube watchers, turn into YouTube subscribers, drop us comments, things like that. Everybody jump over to the Cookiecast.com. Check out the social media functions, the email functions. Use them. Drop us lines. Tell us when you're coming on the podcast. Things like that. So there we go. Done and dusted. Until next week, I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you then. Bye!